Thailand offers all the tools to improve your life, to improve your mental health, to improve your physical health. But I know that some of the pharmacies, they keep it under the table. So if you don't feel comfortable getting it from a guy on the street, some of the pharmacies have a stock. Am I deemed for, life the less attractive men when there's a fairly good solution? You have 1% of the population carrying HIV.
Really?
1% of, yeah, that's a statistic.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the One Night in Bangkok podcast. My name is Eric. Ern is away this week, so Ern's not here. If you guys are new to the channel, we talk all about what's happening in Bangkok, cool people and places we see in the city. If you're coming to Bangkok soon, if you want to live here in Thailand, hit the subscribe button. Check us out on Apple and Spotify podcasts. Check out our new school community. We have a private group that we're answering questions in. We're giving recommendations. Everyone that's coming to Thailand is joining that group and talking in there. So join our free group down below. And we have a new Instagram account for a bunch of new stuff we're planning. It's called Nightlife Thailand. Go follow that account right now. Pause the video. I've said it before. Pause the video. Go follow that account, because when we announce the event that we're planning, it's going to be announced there first, and all the info is going to be there. So go follow that account, Nightlife Thailand. Tonight, I have a new friend that I met at the gym. Shay Lerner is your name, right?
Yes, indeed. Yeah.
And I was pronouncing your name wrong before, Shay, but it's Shay.
Yeah, everyone pronounces it Shay because I'm spelling it S-H-A-Y. So, but in Israel it's Shay. That's where I'm from.
So your story is you're from Israel.
Yeah.
But you are a medical doctor.
Yes.
Not in Thailand. But you're a medical doctor and you worked in Europe, right?
Yeah. So I'm licensed in Denmark and I'm soon to be licensed in Ireland, actually. But I'm educated in Europe. I graduated in Lithuania and then I worked for 3 years in Denmark. So actually, I am an Israeli, but I'm not licensed to practice in Israel currently, and obviously not in Thailand as well.
And what kind of medicine do you do, or did you do?
So that's a good question. So I've practiced medicine for 3 years, and half of that time was in orthopedic surgery and trauma, and then I did a very sharp shift to psychiatry. For the rest of that time in total in Denmark. Cool. Yeah.
I should ask you, I recently got a motorcycle. I bet you met a lot of people like that.
Oh, yes. That's one of the reasons that I'm so hesitant to, I live in Bangkok now and I have a really hard time going on those taxi bikes.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many injuries. I've treated so many people.
We're going to film something later actually that has to do with that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So we met at the gym. We don't have to say which gym, but it's a gym that many people go to.
It's a very well
maybe too many people, so stop going there.
Yeah.
And we were talking about why Bangkok is such a great city, specifically for men to live in. And it's something that's not covered that often. I mean, you always hear about like the nightlife, the finding a girlfriend or something like that. But that's not the only reason, right?
Absolutely not. I mean, for men that are into self-improvement, like myself, and they're very much into optimization, longevity, wellness, all of that kind of stuff, I think Bangkok is absolutely ideal, especially if you compare it to Western countries where most expats are from. So Bangkok is an amazing place for a lot of different treatments, procedures, and just for the lifestyle of the health optimization lifestyle.
Yeah, so let's start with that, because believe it or not, when I lived in America, I was in not like much worse shape, but I wasn't in as good of shape as I am now. I mean, I weighed like maybe 15 kilos more. Like I wasn't fat, but
really?
I wasn't in shape, right?
Hard to imagine.
And my diet wasn't. See, here's the thing. I wouldn't think of my diet as like too bad, but that's like in an American context. But once I came here, I realized how it's actually so difficult to get quality food easily in America. So I wanted to ask you, like, just by being here, what things have you noticed without going into like treatments and stuff like that, but just by living in Thailand, what kinds of things have you noticed that are a positive influence on guys' health?
So definitely let's start from the general vibe.
Yeah.
You're in Thailand, you're relaxing. You have a really, really relaxing atmosphere. Even in a chaotic city like Bangkok, it still feels chill. And that's very important because one of the biggest factors that influences your health is your levels of stress. So I think that the first thing we should mention is the general reduction in stress. And we can go into what factors can influence that and the access to different things you can do here much easier and a lot more affordable than if you just have your life in a average Western city. We can talk about the access to massages, to saunas, to cold plunge, and like I said, the general atmosphere of being in Thailand and a less stressful lifestyle in general.
Yeah, I've noticed it's a lot easier to be active here, like outside, exercise-wise, and I'm sure every city has like a run club and gyms and stuff, but it's just different when you're in beautiful Thailand in the morning and you run in the park here, and where I'm from, it's cold half the year at least. So you don't really want to be outside. You're just inside sitting and eating all the time. So yeah.
Exactly. And here, you find yourself often at the pool, you find yourself often at the beach, so you want to look fit. If you live in a cold climate, during winter, people kind of neglect, and then when summer is approaching, people are suddenly running to the gym and, that classic syndrome.
Right now I'm training for my high season body.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the whole atmosphere in the city is very encouraging you to go outside, to be active. And it's really something actually that is in the Western cities in a cold climate. You might feel less motivated.
I've noticed that Thai people will be very direct and honest with you as far as like your appearance. And I think it's also, it can be a good thing too, because people, I feel like here, respect their body more. Like, I don't know about Europe, but in America, the standard for like health and fitness, is not anywhere near what it probably should be. So have you ever had like how long have you been in Thailand?
So I've been in Thailand for 3 months now, and then last year I've been for a month and a half. So I'm fairly fresh. I'm fairly new in Thailand.
Okay,
but
so and you're in good shape. So you probably haven't had anyone tell you like, oh, you're kind of fat. But
well, I mean, even I get some remarks. Even if I have like this small fat fold or something, they might poke you. They might physically ask you, what is that?
Yeah, I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah, so for sure.
One thing that you mentioned when we were chatting about this is the idea of like male loneliness and having a social connection here. And also, maybe it goes along with that, but alcoholism in Thailand, in Bangkok. Have you noticed in like yourself walking around, or like, I don't know how much you go out at night, but have you noticed any of these kinds of things?
So I think that loneliness is such a huge problem that impacts every aspect of your health, obviously mental health, but also physical health. Because if you are chronically lonely, you are chronically stressed, you are in a state of maybe depression, maybe approaching depression, you are less motivated, less active, you have less production of oxytocin, of dopamine, and that can lead to real health issues. For example, metabolically you can get you can become more obese. It reduces insulin sensitivity because you have higher cortisol, because you have more stress in your life. In terms of mental health, it can lead to obviously depression, because the more isolated you are, the less social interactions you have. It can literally induce depression, whether you're predisposed to it or not. Put any man in an isolated state, and you will see 100% some degree of deterioration in their mental state. So I think that and I think that loneliness is especially affecting men, because I think that women naturally have a lot more social options, and men need to make a lot more effort to get social interactions. And if you live in the middle of nowhere, in a in Europe or in the US, or in and you come to Thailand, to Bangkok, right? This will be a massive shift in your social life and in your general like daily interaction with people, and it will 100% affect your motivation. Obviously it will affect it positively.
Hey guys, I wanted to let you know that we have started a brand new One Night in Bangkok community group hosted on the school platform. If you're coming to Bangkok soon, if you're traveling here, if you're thinking about moving here and you want to get the most out of your Bangkok experience, if you want some tips on how to get set up here, or if you just want to know the best places to go out, join the group down below. You can talk to Ern and I directly there. You can meet like-minded subscribers. And in the coming months, I'm going to be putting out a lot of guides and helpful info to help you guys get out there and have a great time in Bangkok. So join us down at the link below. It's totally free, and we'll see you there. Now let's get back to the episode. I've noticed there tends to be two groups of guys that end up in Thailand. Either guys that maybe they're not happy with something in their life, or they want to change, and they come here and don't really make the effort to make any positive changes, and then just end up at the bar 6 nights a week. And then there are people that come here with maybe a plan, or they're motivated and use Thailand for their benefit, whether it's the access to healthcare, like we're going to talk about, or just the good weather to exercise. Like there's this YouTuber that I followed for a while. His channel name is Rides for Kicks. You probably don't know who this is. And I think his name is Lucas.
Okay.
I've never met him or anything, but I really love his story, because I think I'm going to get this right. He's from Maryland in the US, and I believe he was in his 50s, and his doctor said, like, if you don't make a change health-wise, you're not going to make it another 10 years. And so he moved to Thailand, to Pattaya, and he started a new routine. Every morning, he walked along the beach in Pattaya. I forgot, or maybe it was Jomtien Beach or Pattaya Beach. I'm not sure which beach, but it might be like 3 kilometers or 5 miles. Did that every day, and then tracked his progress. And in not that long, less than a year, I think he lost 100 pounds. And he would post the updates like on his channel. And I think that's such a great example of how to use this place to your advantage, and not just sit in a bar and, talk to girls.
That's a great story. That's a great example, because it's absolutely up to you. Thailand offers all the tools to improve your life, to improve your mental health, to improve your physical health. Thailand offers everything. It's totally up to you. How do you want to live your life? Do you want to, waste your time constantly drinking in the bars, or do you want to use what this place has to offer? And actually, your example, this man maybe not necessarily lost his weight due to walking, due to that physical activity, but maybe just going outside, walking at the beach, reduced his stress levels, reduced his chronic elevated cortisol, which massively affects metabolism. It massively affects your insulin resistance and your blood sugar levels. So it has such a huge significance of what you do here actually with your time, and whether you choose to practice bad habits, or more of an unhealthy lifestyle, or do you choose to use what this place has to offer, which we mentioned, like you can just daily be at the gym, be at the sauna, almost every condo.
There's a Thai boxing gym on every corner, basically.
Yeah, and you know, almost every condominium, every building has a sauna.
Yeah.
Every building has a pool. Every building has a gym. At least, you know, not a serious gym, but at least to do cardio. Even if you don't have the energy to go to your local gym, go and do some cardio. It's so easy.
Yeah, there's really no excuse. It's like right in front of you.
Exactly.
So one thing that I noticed that seems to be taking over here are hair transplant clinics. In fact, I have a friend at our gym. I don't know if you've met him before, but he literally just last month had a hair transplant here in Thailand. And if you guys don't know, Turkey is actually, I think, like the world capital for hair transplants. Like everybody was going to Turkey. But I think Thailand is actually maybe coming up to the point where it's going to overtake Turkey.
Absolutely. And let me surprise you. I had a hair transplant here in Bangkok 2 months ago.
What?
Yes, absolutely. I know you can't see that because it was a no-shave transplant. So they implanted the hairs between my existent hair and
in the front or the back?
Front.
There's zero way I would know that.
Yes, because it was mainly density and actually we talked about Turkey. I think I'm the ideal person to talk about it because I had a hair transplant in Turkey. I had a hair transplant in Europe, and now I had a hair transplant in Bangkok. I had 3 hair transplants, and you know, some people choose that strategy because you divide it into small transplants, so you don't really use up all your donor area in one time.
Just real quick, if people don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Here's my non-medical doctor description. But basically, it's not fake hair. They take your hair from the back and they just basically replant it in the front or wherever you need it.
Exactly. So they extract the follicles from your donor area, which is the back of your head, because this area is androgen-resistant hair. Basically, it's a hair that's not sensitive to dihydrotestosterone.
So you won't lose it through baldness.
Exactly. That's why bald people only lose the top, which is more sensitive to hormones, to testosterone. So they use the hair from the back of your head, they extract the follicles, they implant them in the depleted areas. And I had that procedure. My strategy was getting small transplants every time, so I don't put all my eggs in one basket. So I don't risk depleting my donor area in one time, doing like 4,000 grafts. And then if I want to fix something, it's already a problem because, this area is, was over harvested. So that was my strategy. I did a small one in Europe, in Hungary. I think a year later, I did a small one in Turkey. And then 2 years later, which is recently, I did a also relatively small one in Bangkok.
Okay.
Right here. Yeah.
And so what did you notice between these 3?
Look, it's night and day. It's night and day. It's not even close. Bangkok is absolutely the place to get your hair transplant. It's not even close. The whole experience, if we talk about the professional, the medical aspect, and also everything around it, the way they treat you as a patient, you can't compare it. It's night and day. In Turkey, for example, just to paint you the picture, in Turkey, you barely have any interaction with the actual doctor. The doctor maybe talks with you, and I did in one of the most famous clinics in Istanbul. The doctor talks to you for like a few minutes, just draws on your head with a marker and sends you to the factory, right? And then you have assistants that don't speak English. You can't communicate with them during the procedure. You can't really do anything. Like, it's very, very, it feels a bit chaotic, and you feel that you don't get personal treatment at all. And also in terms of the results, from my experience at least, in Bangkok, from the hair transplant in Bangkok, even the mechanical implantation, so even the insertion of the hair and the injury to the scalp is much more minimal. Like the injury to the scalp and the scabbing afterwards and the whole healing and recovery process was so much easier in Bangkok compared to that. So even in terms of the actual implantation itself, the surgical procedure, Bangkok was way better. But in Bangkok, the doctor himself that actually was following up on you and giving you the consultations from the start, he's the one who's performing it. And this is so important. And the doctors, I didn't tell them that I'm a doctor in the beginning. So I just tested the waters, tested their knowledge. First of all, their English is amazing. Their actual medical knowledge is amazing. I don't know if I can give a shout out.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But Bangkok Hair Clinic, it's run by Dr. Jate and Dr. Jirayu. They're two brothers. They're fairly young and they are so professional, so knowledgeable. Their surgical knowledge, their medical knowledge, they base it on research, and generally everything around hair loss. So you can't even compare. It's night and day. The whole experience is completely different. And the crazy thing is the price is the same. The price is the same. And so it's I think it's you don't even need to really think about it. If you're a guy who thinks about a hair transplant and you're contemplating Turkey or Bangkok, I think the problem solved. Mm-hmm. It's very simple.
Yeah, a lot of guys don't talk about this topic, but I've noticed from being here, it's gotten very popular.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, having a full head of hair is, your hair, your presentation, that's the first thing people see, and that affects your confidence a lot. Mm. And I mean, why not? I mean, even if men don't really talk about it, I don't think anyone should be ashamed of it. I think if you take care of yourself and you care about your appearance and you want to remain an attractive guy, so what if genetically you got screwed? Because in my case, both your grandpas got completely bald in their early 20s. So genetically, you're screwed. That most likely you're gonna lose your hair. So what? Am I deemed for live life as a less attractive man when there's a fairly good solution? So obviously, why not? There's no reason to be ashamed of it. I mean, you see girls walking with fake boobs.
Really? I have not noticed.
You see girls walking with fake boobs everywhere, and that's also, I mean, they're compensating for a genetic discrepancy. Or sometimes they even get it unnecessarily.
Yeah, let's talk about that because I was shocked when I first moved here. I didn't really notice it when I just traveled here on like a holiday trip. But when I moved here, I was shocked at the prevalence of cosmetic surgery. Now, the most obvious one that a guy's going to notice when he gets off the plane are the fake boobs. A lot of times because sometimes it's ridiculous, like, what they do. But as I lived here longer and I met especially women, and they actually explained to me the types of procedures these girls were getting. So I would say the most popular procedure that it seems like so many girls get is their nose. It's very, very common here.
Yeah, there is an obsession, and I think it's not just Thailand. I think a lot of Asian countries in Asian popular culture is to get the Western nose, is to basically, us Westerners, we want our noses smaller, and I'm saying it especially as a Jewish guy. We want our...
I think you're doing okay.
Yeah, I got lucky in that department. I only got the boldness, not the... If I had the big nose and the boldness, I would be a perfect stereotypical Jew. but I think that we us in the West, we're obsessed with getting our noses, smaller and like getting this cute little nose. And actually here it's the exact opposite. They don't want this small nose. They want this big prominent nose, which sometimes looks almost clownish.
It does. It doesn't fit. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it's very out of place.
I'm shocked by how there's so many. I always thought it'd be like obvious all the time, but I dated a girl for like years, and then I found out she had her nose done, but it was done in a way where like you would never. Like I'm like, would you waste your money because it looks it looks almost the same. But I find that like in the U.S. Around when people become like teenagers, late teens, they get braces on their teeth. It's very, very common. Almost everybody does it. And I find that in Thailand, the equivalent is not actually braces. It's the nose job. That's what, I don't know what percentage, but like a huge percentage do it here.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like in the Western countries, the standard, actually a lot of girls already in high school get their boobs done, get nose jobs as well, in at least in some Western countries. But
and the other thing I notice sometimes with the girls is they'll have like their jaw reshaped or something. I don't know what the procedure is called, but
yes, so there's few ways. There's the permanent way, obviously the full blown plastic surgery on your face, like reshaping, remodeling, liposuctions, and that kind of stuff. But there's also a temporary way, which is contouring with fillers. You can literally inject fillers to different areas in your face and reshape them and re-contour with filler injections. So some of those faces you see that are a
lot of the faces I see.
Yes,
for sure.
They use it on their chin, on the jawline. Yeah.
What kinds of cosmetic procedures besides hair transplants do you think are most popular for men?
For men, well, I think that aside from hair transplants, I would say for men.
What about like Botox?
I mean, Botox for men. I mean, there is an increased awareness in latest years about Botox for men. Men start getting more of that to avoid wrinkles and things like that. But still, I would say, it's predominantly women who get Botox and lip fillers and all of these procedures in terms of injections in your area in the face. Okay, that's mostly women. I would say for men, the most popular plastic surgery, the most popular procedure, aesthetic procedure, would probably be hair transplants and also PRP injections, which is platelet-rich plasma injections to the scalp, also to prevent hair loss.
That's when they take some blood out of your arm.
Yeah.
And they put it in like a centrifuge machine and it separates what does it separate? The plasma from the rest of the blood?
Exactly. It separates the plasma from the other components. And then this plasma, it's called platelet-rich plasma, and it contains different growth factors. And for example, like a platelet-derived growth factor. And these growth factors, research found that if you inject them into a certain tissue, for example, around your follicles in your scalp, it promotes growth. It promotes formation of new vascular formations around the follicles, and basically induces more growth. Now, PRP again is growth promoting. It doesn't prevent genetic hair loss, androgenic alopecia. That's what we call just general hair loss in men due to DHT, due to testosterone. So even if you get PRP injections And even if you use minoxidil, which I'm sure a lot of your viewers know about it, because minoxidil is one of the most commonly used medications for, again, also promoting hair growth. Even if you use all those hair growth stimulating factors, it still doesn't prevent basically the process of miniaturization of your follicles due to DHT, which is dihydrotestosterone. So you still need to block it. You still need DHT blockers, which leads me to finasteride, obviously, which is right now that's the most common drug of choice for men to combat that specific problem.
I want to mention something about the PRP therapy, though, because I think this has become a more popular thing recently. And I looked into this at one point, and the big thing with PRP in Thailand is, in the West, this treatment can be very expensive. But in Thailand, it's, I don't know, what percentage, but it's much more affordable. So some people, I think in the West, would never even hear about this or consider it because it would probably just be out of their budget. But when you come to Thailand, all of a sudden you get access to these things, and it's not like the quality is less. And that's the misconception that I often want to try to clear up. Like my parents, they think like, oh, medical care in Thailand, that's like a third world country, right? They have no idea what it's like here. Exactly.
It's a very common misconception. And as I mentioned, like that hair transplant clinic, how professional the doctors were and how knowledgeable and also both clinically and surgically. So my personal experience as a Western doctor in Thailand with interacting with doctors as absolutely, proving those stereotypes very much wrong. And Thailand has amazing clinics with medical grade equipment, hospital grade equipment. You have private hospitals, private clinics, and they provide those services for the fraction of the price. For example, PRP, I think if we look at it, I think 2, 3, 4 times cheaper than you would get PRP in Europe or in the US. And also, for example, you have also treatments that are not only are cheaper here, but also much more accessible. If we talk about, for example, testosterone replacement therapy, for example, which is hormone replacement therapy for men that have some symptoms of low testosterone, usually men that are a bit older. And if you're a man that has symptoms of low testosterone and you live in Europe, for example, the regulation is just, you can't, basically it prevents you from solving that problem. The amount of barriers you need to go through to get testosterone and to treat yourself and to monitor. And also the fact that the doctors in Europe are not really, the awareness is not there. They're not really interested in that. So the accessibility and the awareness for things like that is much lower. In America, it's much better. In America, you have those anti-aging clinics which provide you with, TRT. They provide you even with growth hormone and IGF-1 to, also for anti-aging purposes. So actually, the awareness in America is better, but I would still say it's much more expensive. And here they are, they couldn't be as professional as they are in the US, but again, for the fraction of the price and also much more accessible in terms of regulations. There's not that many constraints. And Europe, Europe is that's...
Well, I've noticed that Thailand is a very popular destination for bodybuilders specifically. Can you explain why?
Absolutely, yeah. But that's different from TRT, because TRT you do under medical supervision in a proper clinic that gives you a hormonal panel metabolic panel. They check your blood for inflammatory markers. They take you through the whole thing, and then you have a doctor prescribing not only making testosterone accessible to you, but they inject it. You can get the injections at the clinic, and they monitor you periodically to make sure you keep your the potential side effects in check. If that's elevated hematocrit, which is an elevated percent of red blood cells, which is a serious thing when treating with testosterone. If it's your lipid profile that needs to, your cholesterol that needs to be monitored. But when talking about bodybuilders,
because you're saying that like TRT is a thing to take seriously, and you can't just go and get it over the counter and start injecting it, right? But I have heard, like, from the bodybuilder world, there are crazy drugs here that you can get over the counter. Yes. Is that true?
Yeah. So that's guys who decided that, I'm gonna do independent TRT. I'm gonna be my own doctor. And yeah, absolutely. You have certain, not all pharmacies here. It's not completely, it's not the Wild West completely, but you have certain pharmacies that will give you those kind of things, especially in the Soy 11 Nana area. Yeah, they literally advertise with like, with billboards of like huge muscular veiny dude, come to us, we give TRT. They don't even hide it. But around Nana, Soy 11, you can go to the pharmacies there, and you can definitely get injectable testosterone. Not only that, but also erectile dysfunction medications, which are ironically in Thailand, officially, you can get them only at the hospital. But
really?
Yeah.
Well, so not at a pharmacy, you're saying?
Exactly.
So you can either get at a hospital or on the corner in Nana.
Exactly. And there's especially popular erectile dysfunction medication, which is sold in Nana, and people use it recreationally, which is Kamagra. I don't know if you heard, but it's very
obviously popular. I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah,
now, I've never tried it, but tell us.
I'm glad to hear that you never needed it. Yeah.
Well, okay, I've got two questions. First is, this drug is like an alternative to Viagra, right? Or
it's the same substance. It's sildenafil, which is the active substance of Viagra.
But where is it manufactured?
Oh, that's a good question. I think somewhere in Asia. I'm not sure.
See, this is what I'm getting at. It's like this, and it's like a gel, right?
Exactly. It's a gel, which you have this small plastic, whatever you want to call it. You just rip it, and then you suck this jelly from there. And what's interesting in that it's actually like, if we look at it objectively, right? If it's like, and we assume that it's a proper sildenafil, which is the same active substance as Viagra, it's actually way better for your purposes. If you're a guy that wants to enhance his boner, it's actually way better for your purposes than Viagra, because Viagra is a tablet and it goes through first pass metabolism, which in simple words means it needs to go through your stomach, it's metabolized in the liver and so on. But this Kamagra jelly, you basically put it in your mouth, and it absorbed directly to your bloodstream because it goes through a sublingual absorption. So actually, it affects you much faster. The interaction with food and other medication, obviously, it doesn't interact because it doesn't fully pass. It doesn't need to completely be passed through your digestive system. So actually, it's more potent. And so it's
so this
better.
Is like a legit medication.
Legit.
Okay, but my second question is, when you see the guys that have the table set up on the corner and like are those knockoffs, or is that real medication, or are they expired, or what is that?
That's a gamble, my friend.
Because I'm always shocked at how many people are buying. I'm like, There's a pharmacy right there. Just like, why would you buy it from this random guy, you know?
Well, so my understanding, yeah, you have those guys selling it outside. I have no idea. I never talked to anyone who got it from there, so I don't know how legit that is. But I know that some of the pharmacies, they keep it under the table as well. So if you don't feel comfortable getting it from a guy on the street, I think some of the pharmacies have a stock. From and I heard that from, you know, guys that live here. So I think yeah. And if we go back, if we circle back to the testosterone, absolutely, this is bodybuilding paradise. I mean, getting such an easy access to medical grade, pharma grade testosterone is something that is unheard of in the West. In the West, if you want access to testosterone, you have two ways. Either you go to your physician, which will, as a young man, will almost never prescribe you testosterone because they don't see any reason for that. And again, the awareness for testosterone replacement treatment in the West is not very good. Or either you buy it on the black market, you know, you buy it in a shady way, and then you don't even know what you're getting. So here, bodybuilders can go to a pharmacy and get a medical grade, pharma grade testosterone injectable, and just, you know, have fun.
Well, but I know some people are probably going to bring up a few negative cases. So there is a fitness influencer.
Well, let's be clear, I'm not encouraging that.
Well, what I mean is when some of these things are easily available, maybe it can lead to some negative consequences. Like I'm thinking of, I'm trying to look up his name real quick. I'm thinking of a few people actually. So there's in Thailand, there's a few very famous fitness influencers. There's Tony Huge. I don't know if you've seen him in Pattaya. There's this guy, Connor Murphy from the US that you know what's funny about him? He did a hair transplant and documented it without the anesthesia.
Why on earth?
I think at that time he was trying to like not take drugs or be pure or something.
But local anesthesia is so harmless.
I'm not saying, but he did it, and they like documented the whole thing, and it was insane. Yeah, it was insane.
It's so painful. As someone who did 3 transplants.
Yeah,
it's in this Connor Murphy.
Yeah,
I know. I remember.
But I think
okay.
I don't want to like spread anything that's not true, but I think he may have had some
mental breakdown.
Some things some struggles.
I remember. He used to be a famous YouTuber.
Yeah,
used to do some pranks and some stuff like that. Yeah, and was like this fitness guy. And yeah, I think he also had a stage where he was drinking his own semen. So I think.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to say that this guy wasn't 100%. You know.
And then there's this other guy. I think he's German. Joe Aesthetics. Do you know this guy?
Joe Aesthetics.
Very famous.
Sounds very
fitness influencer. I think he was based in Pattaya. Died at a young age, at 30 years old. So do you think that these kinds of drugs have anything to do with that?
Well, yeah, excessive testosterone use will likely lead you to early mortality, or at least a heart transplant like Arnold had.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Arnold had a heart transplant.
But he's got someone else's heart inside him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, from what I remember. But I think that testosterone, you know, it brings me back to what I talked about. It needs to be done under medical supervision. You need to know what you're doing. You need to monitor for side effects. You know, excess estrogen is the main problem in terms of sexual side effects that occur from excessive use of testosterone. And like I said, high hematocrit, which can lead to blood clots and cardiovascular events. High cholesterol, the same. It accelerates your, the build of cholesterol plaque in your arteries. So that's also not very optimal. So definitely. I mean, it's very well documented that excessive testosterone leads to early mortality. You need to know what you're doing. You need to always monitor for the side effects and have a doctor look at you every few months. Obviously, get your blood work, and obviously, try to mitigate those side effects. There are different medications that can help you mitigate the metabolic side effects and the sexual side effects. For example, and this is unheard of. Like I haven't. Maybe in the US you have a clinic that actually does that, but there's no way in other countries in the West you have that. Some clinics here not only give you TRT treatment, but they help you also with clomiphene and with HCG to stay fertile while you are on testosterone. Because when you take exogenous testosterone, you completely stop your HPTA axis. So basically, your testicles do not really, get the LH and the FSH, the hormones that stimulate your testicles to produce sperm and to be fertile. So basically, when you get exogenous testosterone, you inhibit this whole axis, and what you do with this supplement of injections of HCG or clomiphene, you stimulate your testicles as if they're getting hormones from your pituitary gland.
I can't wait for someone to clip this out of the video and post it.
Yeah. So just long story short, there is incredible, medical supervision here for your TRT, not only providing you with what you need, not only monitoring you, but also the ability to mitigate those side effects and to do everything as safe as possible. This is unheard of. And in a conventional clinic, you can't get this anywhere. Maybe in the US, again, with the exception of the US, but you can't get it anywhere else in the West from what I know.
Yeah, I actually have a friend of a friend, I'm going to shout out right now, that they opened a man-focused clinic here called, I'm going to plug them right now, called Menscape Clinic. I've never been, but they were telling me about it. I think it's fairly new. And, it's kind of cool because it's focused on men's issues. There's so many things for women, and this is, I believe the staff is led by urologists. And I'm just going to read some of the things they offer because I thought it was interesting. So obviously they have erectile dysfunction and, men's aesthetic stuff, but they also, and low libido treatment, that's on here, but they also have penile enhancement. And when I met this guy, I know it's funny, when I was researching this today for the show, I was at the cafe and I had their website pulled up on the penile enlargement page. And right when I was reading this, the person from the cafe came over to my table to clear my table and saw my screen. And I was like, great. Yeah. But it says they use penile filler as a non-surgical procedure that uses hyaluronic acid, HA, and dermal fillers to increase the girth and improve the shape of the penis.
Yes. And this is temporary.
Uh-huh.
And this is a temporary, and this is actually at least where I come from, it's a popular procedure amongst the gay community. Gay guys love getting that procedure. I don't know why, but that's what I know from doctors that are injecting it, in my country. So it's so expensive. And it's such a good business because it's for the doctor, it's basically 20 minutes of work. Mm-hmm. And it I don't know how much it costs in Thailand. I didn't check.
You're not in the market.
I wasn't researching that but for the doctor, it's so profitable, at least in the West, 20 minutes of work. The patient needs to come back to you every 6 months or so. Because it's a filler, and this filler gets essentially absorbed back. It gets degraded at some point from the tissue. So the price is so high. So for the doctor, it's great business. For you as a man to do that, I mean, I would say it's going very far. I mean, you're also risking you're risking obviously injecting any side of your body is an invasive procedure, and you risk there is some degree of side effects of the potential of infection or hitting a blood vessel or all of these risks of injecting your body. But cool to know that
I just wanted to mention this because I never seen a clinic that was specifically for guys. So if you want to check that out, it's called Manscaped Clinic near Chitlom. You can look it up. And another thing that they, I believe they can help with is all things to do with STDs. So this is a hot topic in Thailand, or maybe it should be. What do we need to know? What do I need to know about STDs in Thailand?
It's such a hot topic that it's burning. It's almost
we're done.
It's almost burning. But actually, you bring up something very important because it's not a secret. Guys, single guys come here. They're very sexually active. In Thailand.
Who?
Yeah, I mean, I heard. I've heard.
Saw it on TV once.
Yeah, I just saw somewhere where guys come here and they get sexually active for some reason. I don't know why. And you're absolutely right to talk about STDs because we in the West we have different prevalence of them and we have different testing habits. So from what I know, here in Thailand, they don't routinely test in the same way we do. So if you meet a Thai girl, she most likely, I mean, maybe she has some, exceptional habits, but the average person in Thailand, they don't do the test for the very common STDs, which are chlamydia and gonorrhea, that you can do a urine test for them. And they don't have that routine, which, in Europe, in the US, I'm sure you have the two that, people get tested very frequently, blood tests, urine tests for the most common ones. Here, for some reason, they focus more about syphilis and HIV. And I mean, it's not for some reason. I think it's because statistically, they have much more syphilis and HIV than in the West, because in the West, basically we got to the point where syphilis is very uncommon and HIV is very uncommon. But in Thailand, you have 1% of the population carrying HIV.
Really?
1% of that's the statistics. 1% of the population of Thailand is carrying HIV. And also, both HIV and syphilis, obviously the risk group is men that have sex with men, so maybe you don't need to worry, as far as I know.
Why is that? No, seriously. Why is that?
For real?
Yeah.
You wanna know? Yeah. So my understanding, and hopefully I'm correct about this, but there is, when you have penetration in
remember, hold on. Keep in mind we're on YouTube right now, so you have to.
So I'm gonna be very I'm gonna try to be clean, even though the thing is not clean. But anyway, you do it without protection. In the rear region. I don't know how else should I describe it. The chances in terms of friction and injury to exchange blood between the partners is much higher there than
I see.
Than doing it the other ways. So I think that's why men who have sex with men are in a higher risk, and in Thailand it's HIV and syphilis they focus on, even though the common ones are actually chlamydia, gonorrhea, and obviously HPV, which is a virus, and there's no much you can do about it. You can just use a condom, and even then, I mean, skin to skin of any form, usually skin to skin can transmit. So yeah, I would say wear a condom.
Okay, so here's something that I think about sometimes, because, you know, unlike a lot of other places in the world, there's some activities that are more easily accessible here. I'm talking about out in the Nana area. Okay, and in particular, I was working with another YouTuber, and he was interviewing a young woman that works at a special massage place.
Oh,
okay, and she was like the top performer there. And so he asked her, like, how many customers, like how many days per work do you week, how many customers would you have per day, right? So she said she averages 5 to 7 customers per day, 5 days a week. And I was like, holy shit. I did some quick like napkin math on that, right?
Yeah.
So my next thought was,
she's very productive. Yeah.
Yeah. But my next thought was, like, how could I don't know like what the testing regimens are in these places, if any, but with that kind of schedule, how could you not, you know, have issues with STDs?
Absolutely. So you bring up a really good point. As I said, even if she would have with all her clients, even if she would have a special massage with all her clients, with protection, it's still not risk free, because for example, herpes and HPV, which are viruses, can be transmitted orally, for example. And do people wear protection orally? No. Not like, I asked some, you know, actually it was a conversation. I went out with a few of the guys I know here, and it was a conversation. I was like, okay, and these guys, I don't mention them by name, so I can say that
let's put their pictures on the screen right now.
that they enjoy an occasional special massage. And I asked them, do you put protection when you do it orally? Obviously not. They said, of course not. And of course, almost no one does that. And that's already okay. Then it means you're not risk-free. You're already putting yourself in risk of contracting herpes and HPV, because they can be transmitted like that. So even if you have it, the main thing, the main event, you know, safely, or, you know, as much as you can safely, you're still not free of risk. And you say this girl has these many encounters, so the chance, I mean, that's why, you know, you need to think, you take a risk. It's some people like the casino, some people like the massage parlor.
That's an interesting point of view.
Yeah.
Shay, if people want to follow you somewhere else, where should they find you?
Yeah, so I'm currently I'm starting my Instagram. I'm going to start creating content as a doctor about all of these kind of subjects, the things that guys are interested in, you know, the optimized lifestyle. So for now, my Instagram handle is shy.learner, but I'll put
the link below.
Yeah, I might change it, but we'll see.
All right. Well, if anybody's still watching after listening to those descriptions, thank you. Drop us your thoughts in the comments. I wasn't sure, you know, how many people would be interested in this kind of topic, because it's kind of like, it's not as, you know, glitzy as, you know, a new nightclub in Bangkok, but this is men's health, and these kinds of things I feel like is important. There's a lot of guys that come here, a lot of guys that watch the show, so I thought they might think it's interesting.
Yeah, it's relevant to most men. Yeah.
So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. If you want to see more of what's happening in the city, hit the subscribe button, and we will see you in the next one.